Everyone has witnessed it. Someone achieves phenomenal success, only to have their world turned upside down in the most tragic way imaginable. Presley Gerber, the son of Cindy Crawford, was no exception to that rule. Reportedly causing his mother to cry, Presley's plummet from favor was as unexpected as it was devastating. He had it all: excellent looks, renowned parents, and a potential modeling career. His name is now linked to more than simply magazine covers and red carpets. Industry experts and young dreamers alike mention Presley's experience as a cautionary tale. However, what exactly went wrong? How could someone who has the entire world at their fingertips go downhill so rapidly? Settle in, because we're about to get down to the shocking facts of Presley Gerber's public collapse. The rise of Cindy Crawford to stardom. We must first discuss Presley's birth mother and the precise reasons why her sudden metamorphosis into a social outcast has precipitated his public collapse before we can go into the specifics of his public fall. Cindy Crawford possessed everything: a person's fame, physical attractiveness, and social status. She was the gold standard once upon a time, not only a model. In everything from fashion shows to magazine covers to music videos to international advertising campaigns. Everywhere you looked, Cindy was. She was being pursued by half of Hollywood. Everything changed the moment she entered a room. Cindy Crawford was born to parents Daniel Crawford and Jennifer Sue Walker in DeKalb, Illinois on February 20, 1966. She and her siblings, Jeffrey, Chris, and Danielle, were raised in a typical Midwest home. Yet early on, disaster befell. At the young age of 3, Jeffrey passed away as a result of leukemia. Even as Cindy rose to stardom, the impact of that tragedy on her family remained strong and influenced her grounded personality. Beyond that, she possessed intelligence. Cindy wasn't letting her attractiveness carry her. She was the valedictorian of her class at DeKalb High School and received a chemical engineering scholarship to Northwestern University. However, modeling approached me after only a short while. She jumped at the chance when it presented itself. She dove headfirst into the fashion industry after dropping out of university. The beginning of her career as a model was anything but glamorous. Her peers fooled her into thinking a nearby clothing store wanted her to pose when she was a teenager. Their own foolishness was the punchline to the hoax. A genuine offer arrived shortly thereafter, and she was soon appearing in magazine covers and local advertisements. Roger Legel, a photographer, shot the image that would become her debut cover. After that, progress was rapid. At 17 years old, Cindy competed in Elite's Look of the Year pageant, where she reached the national finals. She then dove headfirst into the modeling world. After signing with Elite Model Management in 1986, Cindy relocated to New York City, where she had already begun to gain widespread fame. Allure, Harper's Bazaar, Elle, Cosmopolitan, and Vogue began to feature her. She had on the covers of more than 500 magazines by 1998. Chanel, Calvin Klein, Dolce & Gabbana, Valentino, Dior, Versace, and countless more were among the renowned fashion houses for which she modeled on the runway. She represented a whole generation. She was more than a model. Her impact extended far beyond the realm of fashion. She dabbled in acting, including cameos in music videos, such as George Michael's Freedom, 90, and Super Bowl ads, starring Pepsi. Despite the failure of her feature debut, Fair Game, it had no negative impact on her reputation. Cindy was already firmly established as one of the most iconic female figures in popular culture. She willingly posed for Playboy in 1988, without any intention of shocking anyone. Renowned photographer Herb Ritz snapped the photographs, and they were lauded for their artistic merit. In addition to releasing popular exercise videos, she has a long list of successful brand deals under her belt, including ones with Maybelline, Omega, Revlon, Gap, and innumerable others. Cindy was more than a nice face, she was a product. And that label represented mastery, intelligence, and enduring beauty. For that reason, she is being profoundly affected by the current events. Cindy created a flawless persona for herself over many years. She was a model of secrecy, keeping her personal life out of the spotlight as she reared her children in an environment free of intrusive influences. It has been extremely difficult for her to see her son, Presley, publicly deteriorate due to his careless tattoos and erratic conduct. According to family members, Cindy's heart has been crushed by Presley's decisions. Support, stability, and firm love are all things she has attempted. Nevertheless, no parent, regardless of their level of power or polish, can readily stomach witnessing their child crumble under the spotlight. It was expected that Presley will continue her work. Rather, he is now a cautionary tale in the profession, his name hushed and passed about. And this new reality has been terrible for the lady who spent her entire career shaping the narrative. When it came to Presley Gerber, what went wrong precisely? How did the cherished son of a well-regarded woman in the world end up in the news for all the wrong reasons? Soon, we will delve into all of it. However, Cindy Crawford's flamboyant love life must be discussed before any discussion of Presley can take place. Richard Gere and Cindy had a brief and tumultuous romance before Cindy met Presley's father. Crawford, Cindy, and Gere, Richard. Almost as much attention was paid to Cindy Crawford's two high-profile relationships as her modeling career. She has two children from two separate relationships, the first with actor Richard Gere and the second with Randa Gerber, a businessman. In the early 90s, Cindy and Richard were all the rage. He was at the height of his career, having received a Golden Globe nomination for Pretty Woman, while she was firmly establishing herself as America's supreme supermodel. It appeared like they would be a great fit on paper. Truthfully, their bond was far from straightforward. Despite their 17-year age difference, they allegedly hit it off at a mutual friend's barbecue in 1988. Cindy was already recognized for her appearances on Vogue covers, her long brown hair, and her million-dollar grin, and she was just 22 years old. Already a Hollywood heartthrob, Richard was 39 years old. After 3 years of dating, they eloped in December 1991 in Las Vegas, because to their irresistible chemistry. This wedding was anything but ordinary. It was an impulsive choice, Cindy revealed afterwards. An impulsive decision that reflected the frenetic nature of their romance. She walked down the aisle with tinfoil rings and donned an Armani outfit. However, fissures had begun to develop beneath the surface, despite the fairy tale trappings and glitz. In the documentary The Supermodels, which is available on Apple TV+, Cindy reflects on how she shaped herself to fit Richard's expectations during their courtship. While she was younger, she was eager to assimilate into her lover's life, she said. It didn't matter to her if he enjoyed baseball or not. She was also willing to give Tibetan Buddhism a go if he was interested in it. During this period, she was still coming into her own and attempting to find her place in the world, as she put it. Cindy was 29 years old when her marriage dissolved in 1995. It was the year when Richard turned 46. Aside from being a numerical difference, the age gap had begun to shape their relationship. One of the main problems with the relationship, Cindy said in a subsequent interview with Marc Maron on the WTF show, was that they weren't actually peers. As she matured, the fact that she didn't believe their friendship was fundamentally strong became increasingly important. Discord and unbalance ensued from what had begun as love and admiration. She discussed the change in her perspective that occurred in her early 30s during her appearance on Oprah's Master Class. She had been more receptive to taking direction in her 20s, but as her self-assurance increased, she began to long for a partnership in which she was treated as an equal. It dawned on her that she no longer wished to merely follow. She desired to take the lead at times and stroll hand in hand at others. Their marriage failed because their changing selves clashed with the dynamic they had created. Cindy didn't hold resentment or anger against it, even if it had ended. To the contrary, she considered it a watershed moment in her story. Richard taught her a lot about dealing with celebrity, she said. When it came to his support base, he was very forthright. He never wasted an opportunity to get a photo or autograph if he thought it wasn't the right time. Observing him taught her how to keep her composure while she was the center of attention. His intellect and inquisitiveness about the world were qualities she greatly liked. More than most people understand, Cindy learned a lot from that period in her life. After a while, she got over it and discovered a love that lasted. Cindy had a happy life with her husband, the prosperous businessman Randa Gerber, and their two daughters, Presley and Kaya. Alejandra Silva is a Spanish activist who Richard is married to. The couple has two young sons together. Richard has also moved on. Rumor has it that the happy couple is making plans to uproot their family to Spain, where she was born and raised. Although Cindy's first marriage did not endure, it had a profound impact on her life that went well beyond the realm of love. She was better able to become the wife, mother, and woman she would become as a result. Seeing her own kid publicly fight his demons is now one of life's greatest struggles. Randa Gerber and Cindy Crawford. A timeless tale of love. Love wasn't the intention when Cindy Crawford and Randa Gerber met in the early 1990s. Randy had a girlfriend of his own and she remained married to Richard Gere. However, fate intervened during her agent's wedding, and the two of them never were the same. The opportunity for a fortuitous meeting arose when Gere declined to attend the wedding, leaving Cindy to attend solo. Randa was also there, and they hit it off despite the fact that they weren't seeking anything serious. Both expectations and pressure were non-existent. They were free to be authentic since they were both unavailable. They became buddies after some time had passed. In the years following the dissolution of Cindy's marriage in 1995, their relationship evolved into something more substantial. At the 1997 Father's Day premiere, Cindy and Ron made their official couple's debut. They had a little ceremony on a Bahamian beach a year later to tie the knot. No one anticipated such a lavish ceremony from a supermodel. A custom gown was not worn by Cindy. Rather, she opted for a minimalist white lace mini dress from the ready-to-wear collection of John Galliano. Unshod, she strolled. Grande sported a loose-fitting white top and black pants. They were joined hand in hand as they made their way down the aisle. Their bond had genuine foundations from the beginning. They began a family not long after they tied the knot. Presley was born to them in July 1999. Kia, their daughter, was born in September 2001, 2 years after they were married. Although their children would eventually pursue modeling careers similar to their mothers, Cindy and Randy managed to keep their family life stable and separate from the craziness of Hollywood. Friendship, Cindy has remarked time and time again, is the glue that held her marriage together. Whether it was choices regarding parenting or professional paths, she has said that mutual respect was a guiding factor. Despite their hectic schedules and constant media scrutiny, they were able to weather the storms because they were able to listen to and support one another. Early on in their relationship, he did something that really stuck out to her. A piano had always been Cindy's dream instrument, and she had casually brought it up once. One Christmas morning, she awoke to the sound of someone downstairs playing Christmas music. She never mentioned it again. Upon arrival, she discovered a friend playing Christmas carols on a piano in the living room. Under the radar, Ron had planned the whole surprise. Being heard was more important than the gift for Cindy. As they celebrated their 25th wedding anniversary, Cindy wrote a moving online message looking back on the life they had created together. She shared wedding photos and gushed about her pride in her husband and wife's ability to handle life's challenges together. While she did admit that there had been some less than ideal moments, she insisted that she couldn't have imagined enduring such a difficult time with anyone else. Her husband Rhonda was more than that. Her best friend, he had been from the beginning. Despite fame, family, and all that comes with it, their bond has endured the test of time. It's genuine, though understated and understated. If Cindy Crawford had a son, who would he be? Their child, Presley Walker Gerber, was born to Cindy Crawford and Randa Gerber on July 2, 1999. With a supermodel mom and a successful businessman dad, Presley grew up surrounded by fame, fashion, and cameras. But despite the spotlight, his early life was also shaped by strong family values and a close-knit home. From a young age, Presley was introduced to the world of modeling. It wasn't a surprise when he eventually followed in his mom's footsteps. He went on to work with big brands like Dolce & Gabbana, Moschino, Tommy Hilfiger, and Calvin Klein. Modeling came naturally to him, but it wasn't the only thing he cared about. Presley has always been open about his struggles with mental health. In a 2023 podcast interview, he talked about dealing with depression and how important it is to speak up. He said that even if sharing his experience helped just one person, it would be worth it. That honesty led him to start Mental Health Mondays on Instagram, where he shared his journey and encouraged others to take care of their mental health without feeling judged. Family has always been a big part of Presley's life. He's especially close to his younger sister, Kia. The two grew up side by side and even got matching tattoos. Presley has Kaya Bay third on his arm, and she has Prez on her shoulder. As they both got into modeling, they often worked together and traveled for jobs. Presley once said that having Kaya around made everything feel less lonely. He also spent a lot of time with his mom, not just on shoots, but at charity events too. Cindy often brought Presley along when she volunteered at children's hospitals or helped out with causes like the Leukemia Society. She later said one of the things that made her proudest was seeing her kids continue to give back on their own, even when she wasn't there. Outside of work and family, Presley is the kind of person who loves staying active. He grew up surfing, playing basketball, snowboarding, and biking with his dad. He's also known for his tattoos, which have become part of his personal style over the years. Growing up in a famous family gave Presley a lot of opportunities, but it also came with pressure. Still, his early years were marked by a strong foundation. One built on family, honesty, and trying to use his voice for something good. And although Presley has a good family, who has mostly kept him grounded and made him feel seen and loved, even they couldn't stop him from unraveling in the public eye. Presley Walker Gerber's public downfall. Presley Gerber was born into the spotlight. The son of supermodel Cindy Crawford and model turned tequila mogul, Randa Gerber. His entire existence was wrapped in fame and flawless genetics. With that kind of legacy, Presley didn't need to chase the limelight. It was waiting for him. His mother, one of the most iconic models in history, and his father, a respected businessman and former model, seemed to have handed him a golden ticket into any industry he wanted. Naturally, Presley chose fashion first. In February 2016, at the age of just 16, he hit the runway for Moschino. His resemblance to his mom was uncanny, and his striking features quickly made him a hot commodity. He was soon working with brands like Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger, Dolce & Gabbana, and Celine. In February 2018, he even recreated his mom's legendary 1992 Pepsi ad. A nostalgic homage that positioned him as the heir apparent of the Crawford Gerber brand. He was young, successful, and beautiful. What could go wrong? Plenty, it turns out. Just days into February 2019, Presley's seemingly perfect image took a nosedive. In the early hours of New Year's Day, a Beverly Hills police officer pulled him over for speeding in his Tesla. There was a smell of alcohol, and Presley, just 19 at the time, failed a field sobriety test. He was arrested and charged with DUI. It was his first run-in with the law, and though he was released without bail, the legal ramifications were serious. His license was suspended, and he was sentenced to 3 years of probation, mandatory DUI education, and 2 days of community service. A far cry from the glossy campaigns he had been fronting just months earlier. His attorney quickly released a statement saying Presley was taking the matter seriously, but the incident opened the floodgates. It wasn't just about one bad decision anymore. The press and the public began watching him differently. This wasn't the golden boy anymore, this was someone spiraling. And the spiral was just beginning. By 2020, Presley looked different. The clean-cut boy who mirrored Cindy Crawford now had colorful tattoos inked across his arms, torso, and neck. But it was the one on his face that drew the most outrage. That year, he revealed a fresh tattoo on his cheek that read "Misunderstood." Fans were horrified, and even more so were his parents. On social media, people asked why he would jeopardize his modeling future, and openly questioned his mental state. Presley didn't stay silent. He responded directly through Instagram Live, defending the tattoo with raw honesty. "If I thought this was going to ruin my face, or I didn't want this, I wouldn't have done it," he said. Then dropping the defenses for a moment, he revealed, "It says misunderstood because that's how I felt my entire life." When asked if his mother supported it, he replied, "My mom, she likes it. She's supportive. I don't know. It's my face." He dismissed rumors of drug use and challenged critics to say their comments to his face. But despite all the fire he showed then, Presley removed the tattoo the following year. As the headlines piled up, DUI, face tattoo, erratic Instagram behavior, it became clear that Presley was going through more than just a rebellious phase. Unlike his sister Kia, whose modeling career soared with grace, Presley's journey was marked by noise and chaos. Insiders began offering a fuller picture. Presley was tired of being the other one. In a family where everyone seemed to glide, he stumbled. He is trying to get out of the shadow of his family and create his own identity. One source said, he also likes the attention he's been getting, even if it's negative. The expectations that came with the Gerber name weighed heavily on him. Presley feels like there's a lot of pressure on him because his parents and Kia are so successful, said one insider. He wants to find his own place in the world. But for Cindy Crawford and Randa Gerber, Presley's behavior was more than an image issue. It was heartbreaking. Behind closed doors, the parents were deeply worried. He posted videos at gun ranges, made cryptic comments, and seemed lost in his own storm. It's tough for them to see and has caused great concern, a family friend said. They know these statements are some kind of cry for attention or help. They were right. Presley's ups and downs weren't just playing out online. They were happening in real life too. According to reports, he had already been in treatment before. His parents were pushing for him to get more serious help, believing that he was falling off the beaten path. He had started acting out more on social media, venting frustrations, and in one case was hospitalized after a mountain biking accident. They want to make sure he's in a healthy mental state and are closely watching him, the insider claimed. In late 2022, a glimmer of romance offered some hope. Presley posted a photo carousel on Instagram with model Lexi Woods, captioned, "Guys, I did it." The photographs were passionate and lighthearted, and admirers instantly believed that the two had gotten engaged. Woods retweeted it with emojis of a heart, a lock, and an infinity symbol, just adding fuel to the flames. But within weeks, it was over. The posts were deleted, the connection terminated, and insiders indicated they had realized very soon it wasn't going to be long-term. Presley had loved hard and fast, but again, it didn't last. Lexi, sources stated, was ready to focus on herself, her modeling career, and her podcast. Presley was left behind to pick up the pieces. By 2023, Presley was beginning to confront everything he had gone through. In an honest and emotional discussion on the Studio 22 podcast, he reflected on his life's missteps. For me, having struggled with mental health, depression, and other things that come with that, I simply want to help folks escape the place I was in, he added. If I help one person or a 100, that's enough. He acknowledged the pain he'd caused, the struggles he'd faced, and the hard-earned wisdom he'd learned. From everything I've seen and heard, he said, I've learned a lot. I wish I could spare other people the pain of having to learn from my mistakes. He started Instagram's Mental Health Mondays after reflecting on his personal struggles. Presley hoped to help people going through tough times by sharing her wisdom and experiences in each episode on mental health management. Even though he had to learn things the hard way, he was confident he could assist ease someone else's burden if they were ready to listen. He went on to detail his decision to retire from modeling. His passion was never entirely in the fashion industry, despite his past work for Balmain, Dolce & Gabbana, and even an emerging model of the year when he was just 17 years old. Hopefully not. During an Instagram Live in 2020, he talked about his future runway plans and confessed that he isn't a huge fan but does it when he can. He started to ease up around February 2019. Long periods of downtime between performances, an unreliable schedule, and an overall lack of organization started to take its toll on him. He warned that throughout January and February, workers may be in the dark about when they would be paid or when they will have their next job. He and his buddies saw modeling as a stepping stone to something bigger. Even Presley had different plans. Getting his real estate license and leveraging his modeling money to develop his own firm, away from the influence of his family name, was something he discussed. At the same time, social media was a diary and a battleground throughout. Presley was rebellious during his phase of being misunderstood. He had gained wisdom by 2023. He made the statement, "I've let a single comment ruin my day," during an episode of Mental Health Mondays. "It's something I've learned to keep out of my system." He urged his followers to disconnect from the world, call out to friends when they needed it, and take breaks when they needed them. According to him, we're all on this path side by side. Like everyone else, I still have a lot to figure out. Presley then delivered his most exposed confession to date in August of 2024. Addiction to opioids was exposed in a string of Instagram stories he posted. "I've been on and off opioids for years, and I'm currently dealing with a very high addiction," he revealed. Here you are, in case you were unaware. Ibogaine is a potent psychedelic therapy for addiction and post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and he talked openly about getting ready for it. "I'm terrified," he confessed. Sobriety is a terrifying prospect. It's very difficult for a lot of folks because of that. He was, nonetheless, dedicated. "I need to do it now and keep at it." To keep himself accountable and, who knows, maybe even to aid others, he informed his followers that he would record the procedure. Rather than a breakdown, the confession marked a turning point. "I hope that everyone now gets my point. The life of Presley Gerber isn't a simple tale of success and failure. A tale of hardship, defiance, pressure, and personal development." He was nearly crushed by the realization that he didn't conform to the template that his family appeared to fit so readily. But now that he's beginning to understand himself, he no longer feels misunderstood. He's broken away from following in the footsteps of others. He is forging ahead on his own. Progress is made incrementally, with each Monday's post. Similar to a mother and a son. A subtle irony exists, despite the fact that Presley Gerber's public disintegration has garnered innumerable headlines. His mom, Cindy Crawford, was previously on a similarly ill-defined journey. Crawford was a young woman from DeKalb, Illinois, with aspirations that her father doubted long before she became famous for her work in advertising in the classic Pepsi commercial. Modeling was not considered a high-status profession in those days. Her father actually thought the worst when she initially began. He never considered it a profession. He thought the term modeling was really a polite way of saying something much worse. Unaware of what they were getting themselves into, her parents accompanied her to her first modeling session. The idea of walking the catwalk or appearing on magazine covers was something Crawford had never even considered. The idea that it may be a profession had never even crossed her mind. As she stood in her little Midwestern town, the world of fashion publications seemed like a far alien world. Imagine a country girl who finds herself in their company. A photographer in her hometown scouted her, and she was signed to a tiny agency. She saw that firm grow into elite model management. From the outside, her ascent appeared to be effortless, yet, it was far from that. Crawford had been valedictorian of her high school and had gotten into Northwestern University, but she dropped out after just one semester to pursue a career path that nobody in her community thought was serious. The scrutiny persisted even after she secured a Revlon campaign and Vogue covers. People started to doubt her decisions after she posed for Playboy. Having an appearance in a men's magazine seems like a huge gamble for someone already on top of the fashion world. It had nothing to do with money. The salary was meager. Mastery was paramount. The privilege to approve every photograph was more valuable than her fee, so she exchanged it for it. Defending her identity and independence, Crawford stood firm in a business that is always seeking to shape and control. It was not always well received when people were that daring. Years later, in a documentary series that revealed the reality of the modeling industry, Crawford reflected on her early days and confessed that she wasn't picky about the job she took. She lacked the means to do so. She made the most of her circumstances, learned from her mistakes, and only then did she start to mold her career into the one that is remembered today. She has been watching her son deal with media attention for decades. All of it examined closely, including tattoos, arrests, and confessions about addiction. Cindy, though, knows all too well the struggle that exists between individual agency and the weight of public opinion. She has been through it all, being undervalued, misunderstood, and constantly doubted. Although Presley claims he is being misunderstood, perhaps there is more nuance to the story. Perhaps it's not as far from the tree as everyone believes. In your opinion, how significant is Presley? Put your 2 cents in the comments section. As always, your likes, shares, and subscriptions are greatly appreciated. Additionally, jump to the next video that loads. We guarantee you will love it.